Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. We rollin'!
Covering MMA from all over the world, this is the premier stop for all your combat sports needs. MMA Junkie Radio, the only show broadcasting live from the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. The lights are on and the mics are hot. It's time to get your MMA fix, junkies. Take it away, Big John.
Gorgeous George and Goes, are you ready? Junkie Nation, are you ready? Well, let's get it on.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you're listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, our ace co-host. To my left, it's the fight analyst, Dan Tom. Back east, producing the show, Jumbo Josh, and our special co-host for the evening. It's one of the top lightweights in the world, the Motown Phenom, Kevin Lee. What's up, fellas?
What's going on? What's going on?
I said, it didn't come out, fellas. Not much, man. I thought I was having a stroke there. I'm good. How about you? How you been?
I can't complain.
Did you have a nice holidays, Christmas and New Year's? And
yeah, can't complain. Putting everything into the right position. And, as I getting older and more into this game, I'm starting to just kind of let go of things and focus on what I can focus on. You know what I mean?
Right. One thing I've noticed with you, Kevin, is you're pretty good about separating yourself from a loss at some point. I mean, you deal with it. I know it's deep in your soul, and that's what I love about you, because that's why I'm a huge fan, because this means more to you than anything. You know what I mean? But once that's done, whether that process is a couple days or a couple weeks, I know that you know how to live life. You know what I mean? And so I'm glad that you were able to have a nice holiday season, and then 2019 is just a new year, and I'm sure you got goals. And maybe this will be one of them years where you can hit 3 fights or 2. I don't know. Yep. And just get you out there doing your thing and regrouping.
Well, I've been through this process before too, so it kind of, I'm not gonna say it necessarily gets easier, but you just learn what matters and what don't matter. And in the long run, I'm really in this game for a long, long time in my head. So that's what I kind of keep. I try and always just look forward, regardless. You can look kind of back and be upset about it and just kind of see what you did right and what you did wrong. But I do that win, lose, or draw, really. So for me, it's just a process. It's the same process. It sucked a lot more. It kind of wakes you up in the middle of the night a little bit more. Oh, really? But at the end of the day, it's kind of like the same thing. So that's kind of the beauty about fighting, is there's going to be another fight. The game's just going to keep going on, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to keep getting better at it. And, that's really – ultimately, that's my only goal. I never, even when I started this, where I say I'm undefeated or I'm going to be, nobody can beat me and all this. I just always just try and get my honest opinion about how I'm going to do versus a certain guy, or how I feel I'm going to do. I try and stay true to that, and that's it.
I'm going to ask a sensitive question.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've always seen kind of the coach's side and how they deal with their fighters. Have you ever noticed what your coaches go through, like how they deal with it? Have you ever seen the expression on their look or just their process? Have you ever caught on to it?
Yeah, you can definitely feel their energy, for sure, and especially as you go through. Fighting's so personal. It's so it's more personal, I think, than people realize. So y'all kind of feel the same things almost, and if your energy, I'm kind of feeding off of that. So yeah, I can kind of see it, and everybody has their ways of, whether a coach, a fighter, or your significant other, whatever it is, they've got their own ways of kind of dealing with it and going through their ups and downs. It matters just as much to them as it does to me. So I kind of keep that in my head, but everybody kind of deals with their own things, and that's why you have to make sure that you have the right people around you, and you have the right coaches, and you have the right team members that they understand this too. They've been there before. They know how to keep pushing forward and keep trying to be better.
Your process, is it different every time? Like how long before you go back to your coach and say, all right, let's regroup and let's look at the tape, let's do all that? How long does that take?
It's different every time, because it depends on the fight, especially with this one, where some of it was lost in the corner. You know, I felt like, especially going into that 5th round, I could have been told something different and kind of like fed off that energy a little bit more if they would just been like, yeah, you got to go out there and win this round for sure. I felt like that would have changed the style of the fight. But, you know, that's just me looking back and seeing what we can get better at and how we can improve on even our communication, you know. So I think every fight is different. And every situation is different too, and I try and approach them different, but still approach them with the same type of mindset of getting better with it.
Will there be coaching changes, or will you and your coaches just change the approach?
There's definitely gonna be some coaching changes. Even in that last one, I had a guy in my corner for the first time, and you know, whenever you do that, it's like you taking a big risk, you taking a gamble. You know, it's so much energy based, and it's so much like I feed off the other people's energy too. So you know, I do think that there will be some changes. I mean, there's gonna be some big changes coming up that I can't really talk about yet. That
I always seem to book him 2 weeks early. Right? He's always got big news to announce, but it's coming up. I got to get my timing. Next time I book Kevin Lee, I'm going to say, you got any stuff coming up? When he goes, yeah, man, a couple weeks. I'll go, cool. Talk to you in a couple weeks.
Well, you know, I just don't want to throw nothing out there that is or ain't going to happen. But I got some big plans in my head that I'm kind of putting out there. And I'm going to make sure I get them into fruition.
Can we get 3 guesses?
Change a little game. Go ahead. Yeah, take that.
Does it involve a move out of Las Vegas?
No. Potentially, but no, probably not. No.
George?
Staying built. I'm not gonna lie.
You're having a kid.
No, fuck no. Fuck no.
What's your guess?
I mean, I don't mean we on radio. I'm sorry. No.
What's your guess, Dan?
I don't want to say does it involve a passport because you may have already been there, but does it involve going up north maybe?
No. I mean, that one's getting closer. But
he got the closest.
That one's getting closer, but just the north part. And kind of, again, I ain't going to throw nothing out there that just wait and see. And I feel like when we do get it off the ground, it's gonna change the way that MMA training at least works. So that's my goal. I don't know.
I wonder what the hell all that means.
I'm gonna leave it out there. I'm gonna leave it out there.
Yeah, can't wait for the commercial break when he tells us.
We got 2 hours to figure this out. All right, so Kevin Lee, I just wanted to tell you, you beat Edson Barbosa in April of 2018. Then he came back and got a win over Dan Hooker. Now he's got a fight versus Justin Gaethje. And I believe it's a headliner bout. My point for bringing all this up is, like you said, you never said that you were going to be undefeated, but it's all about timing. You know what I mean? So a guy you beat has now taken a win, and since then you took a loss, and now he's already booked. So it just goes to show you how quick, situations can change, you know what I mean? So all I can say is in 2019, go out there, beat someone's ass, and then just start moving in because there can only be one champ.
Yep.
So everyone's going to, knock each other off, you know what I mean, along the way. And so now you just got to be there right at the right time to creep up and boom, sting again. Plus, you're really young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Connor's 30 now. Habib, I believe, is 30 now. A few of the other guys, Al's over 30, so Ferguson for sure is like 35, 36. Poirier's the only one I think that might be a little older, but not 30. So you still got time. And the good thing is, look at Tyron Woodley. He's mid-30s. He became champ 33 or something like that. But he's got 4 title defenses. The best part of his career has now been being champ and defending it. He was there at the right time to be champ and to defend it. So I can count many champions that have won it and then they were gone and that's it. So, man, you got a long ways to go. You know what I mean? So stay positive.
Yeah, I mean that's all I keep into my head is like you said, I am the youngest in the division, and I still feel like I could take any of those guys out. Even now, I mean, I still feel like I'm gonna get that one back too. I think we gonna eventually have the third fight. But even when I look at the fight, I still learned a lot during that fight even, and I kind of answered some questions that I had about myself. So I'm just gonna take all the positives and take the negatives, change that, and then keep on moving forward. And it's without a doubt in my head. Not even once the judges say I lost that fight really. But even once they did that, it's still the thought process that, you know, oh, it ain't going to happen never crossed my mind. Like, it's just a matter of time for me. And the good thing is I got time on my side. So as long as I just stay getting better each day in, day out, motherfuckers can't stop me.
And you know what's cool about all this is 3-4 years ago when you first said it, 9 out of 10 people would be like, oh, come on. He's young. He hasn't really fought those guys yet. Now it's the reverse. 3-4 years later, there's a lot of people going, yeah, I believe you. You know what I mean? There'll still be a few doubters, but you've definitely proven those skills over these last 3-4 years since you've been coming on this show, since you really started, you know, taking on these main event spots and all that. So, you know, keep saying it, keep believing it, and there's tons of fans that believe in it as well.
And like I said, 3 or 4 years from now, you know, you're gonna look back and it's gonna look totally different than now. Like I said, I just felt like I'm still, even with that fight, I still felt like I improved on a lot of things. I just didn't fight the way I normally fight. I tried to change up too much. You know, I've always been one to try and do it all, and I kind of want to be the most well-rounded fighter in the game. But I just, you know, I fought as a southpaw backing up, you know, when normally I'm an orthodox, always in your face, kind of bully style. And, you know, even while fighting a different style than is my natural fighting style, I answered some questions in there, and now I'm kind of done playing around. You know, I'm kind of done seeing what I need to do. Now somebody's gonna get hurt. Like, that's in my head. That's all that's happening now. So I don't care who it is. They've approached me with some fights that didn't make no, like, I just wasn't interested in. And now I'm gonna hurt somebody. They offered me Darren Till. On
Darren Till,
yeah, for that main event spot in London.
Oh, wow. So they wanted you to move up to welterweight.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think they're trying to push me out the division. They pretty much approached me, like, right after the fight and asked me would I go 170. I'm like, not really, you know. This is where I started. This is where I'm going to get this belt first, and then I'm going to keep on moving on. So, you know, I wasn't interested. I'm going to stay at 155, and somebody's going to get hurt.
Was it a quick decision when they offered you? Were you just like, nope? Or did you think about it for a while?
Yeah. I mean, I slept on it for the night, but then when I woke up in the morning, I'm like, still the same thing. You know, I don't try and make decisions on the fly like that, but it still was kind of wasn't too interesting. You know what I mean? It's just so much work for me to be done at 155. 155 has been the best division. Like you said, it's so much that can be bouncing around, and there's so much this guy can beat this guy on any given night. That excites me more than going up to welterweight.
Kind of a long question, but just recently getting a loss in a stacked division, you would agree that it's going to take a while to get back, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot, but it's going to take a bit. That being said, I want to say, like, your last 3, maybe your last 4 have been 5-rounders, which means you have to train more for them. It's tougher. A guy like Jose Aldo, he kind of made headlines about a month ago because he had said, look, if I know I'm not fighting for a title right away, then why am I going to put myself through another 5-rounder? I've been doing that over and over and over. I don't want to fight in the main event. I just want to fight 3 rounds. Is that something you would consider? Because your body goes through a lot.
There is something to that. And like I said, when they offered me that Darren Till spot, that was kind of the first thought in my head too. Is, you know, another 5-rounder, another main event, another all the media and the press and you know and all the everything that goes into it. Is definitely a factor. They really don't compensate you for that shit either, to be honest. I mean, it's just the real of it. But, you know, I don't know. Each fight is different. So there's some guys that I would rather a 5-rounder. There's some guys that I would rather a 3-rounder. You know, I feel like doing 5-rounders does get me ready for that championship fight. And it gives me that extra experience. You know, when you look at other fighters in other divisions, you know, when Demetrius Johnson was kind of at the top of 125, he was smoking those guys because they were coming from 3-round prelims and had never had that moment before. You know, that 5, it never even got 5 rounds out of their bag. And if you don't know that you can do it for sure, then I feel like that is something that hampers you. And I've gone 5 rounds a couple of times now. So when that next title fight comes up or that next opportunity, then that question won't be in my head. So, you know, I feel like each is different. I'm not gonna shy away from another 5-rounder if they offer it to me. I'll probably enjoy that a little bit more, to be honest. But a 3-rounder would be kind of nice right now.
How soon do you think that decision will all come about? Does that tie into the news that you're talking about?
No, it's completely separate. I mean, I want to fight soon. I want to fight, like, if I could, I would fight in March. Like
Here in Vegas?
You know.
March 2nd, or is that too soon?
Well, I think that card's too stacked already. I asked to be on that card, but, you know, it's kind of everything's timing in this game, especially with the opponents. And I'm really giving a shot to anybody at 155. I've called out. I'm like, I'll take somebody who ain't ranked. You know, I don't care who it is. And, you know, nobody want to raise their hand. You know, Michael Johnson, he kind of stuck his hand up the other day and called me out on it. So I accept right away. I'm like, okay, just tell me when and where to be, and I'm there. There's him. There's the Gregor Gillespie kid who looked real good. You know, he ain't going to spend no time calling nobody out. But
he's fishing right now.
Well, me too. I'm looking for my next deal too. So, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to get in touch with his people while he out in the woods and see if I can track his ass down too.
Mm-hmm. Well, one last thing here, and then I'll stop trying to be that guy that's cheering you up because I know you don't need it. But we've had so many debates the last few weeks, us three, about this division. It's a stacked division, but until Nevada State Athletic Commission rules next Tuesday, what's going to happen with Khabib and Conor? It's like at a standstill anyway, you know? Let's just say you had won and Al had lost the fight. Then what? Like, I think you can admit this. Tony seems to be next, but he has to listen every day to the possibility that they may rematch Conor and Khabib if and when they come off their suspension or serve a suspension. And then you got a guy like Dustin Poirier who's been making noise, who's also going, hey, you know. Yeah. So it's like you'd almost get caught up in it anyway. So not to say that losses happen are ever good. They're not. I realize that. But the timing of it can be important. Yeah. So while all that gets sorted out, you know, like you said, fight somebody in March or April, maybe one in the summer, and then, bam, right back in the mix, you know. And here's another thing. And now you would win a title at 27. You wanted to win one at 25. Would you have been able to handle it at 25? Would you have been mature enough, or would you have been getting in trouble here in Sin City? Would you have been able to defend it? You know what I mean? You gotta be ready to be champion too.
That's true. That's true. And you know, like I said, it's a long-term game. So yeah, as this whole situation is playing out with everybody else, I kind of came to the realization. I'm like, okay, there's certain things that my focus just can't be on, and it's just wasted time and energy. You know, yeah, there's big fights still out there. You know, I feel like Conor and Khabib, they can't make that fight happen again. I don't even think they would. You know, it's just, it wouldn't make more sense. It'd make more sense to kind of build it and then make it big, where now you might think that McGregor really got another chance. If they do an immediate rematch, I mean, how many times have they done that and the guy come back and win?
You're right, exactly. Okay,
Never.
I'm glad you said that.
You know, it would have made more sense for me to fight Conor right off this. You know, I mean, if you're talking about competition-wise, we both are coming off losses. You know, who's going to bounce back? It makes sense. 2 top 5 guys going at it. But then I'm like, okay, I ain't going to focus on none of that. I'm just going to do me and just get better. I think they probably will make Conor and Cowboy happen just because that's a good fight. I want to see the fight. You know, I wanted to fight Cowboy.
I saw that transition.
Yeah, but then as it's going, I'm like, okay, I'll watch Cowboy and McGregor too. So I'll go ahead and let them have it. And either way, my day's going to come.
What makes you feel like they're getting it and then you're kind of backing off a little bit?
Yeah, because, I mean, because everything starts with the fans. You know, everything comes from the bottom up. And even me, as the fan in me, I kind of want to see that fight too. It don't make a whole lot of sense, really, competition-wise, I feel like. But I could see them trying to get Conor a win and them not wanting me to get Conor. So, you know, I kind of let them have it. And I'm like, all right. You know, like I said, I just only focus on what I can focus on. And I'm like, okay, however else y'all want to play it, y'all can play it. I'm going to go ahead and just focus on me.
Based on what you're telling us, I'm assuming you think Conor will beat Cowboy. Easy work or tough night?
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, especially with the. It depends on how Conor plays it in the meet. You know, Cowboy, I feel like it's always a lot of head games going on, and Conor's good at them. So it depends on if he got his mojo back. If he feel like he can get in his head, and he can like mix some things around. That don't necessarily mean he got to come out and talk a bunch of shit and talk about his people and talk about everything. It's just how he plays him in the media. As the fight gets closer and closer, I'll be able to really see how the fight gonna play out. But my initial reaction is just it's gonna be a decent fight, but McGregor should take it 9 times out of 10.
Conor can't get that much more lippier, though, right? You got Brazilians coming after him, Russians. You know how many people do rodeos?
You don't want the Cowboys.
You can't go anywhere without looking over his back.
Rodeos, huh? All right. This is interesting. Yeah, so I guess we're covering some things here. Do you think – so you think when they come off suspension – in fact, give me your opinion. What do you think they're going to get in terms of a suspension and fine?
I think they'll probably get like a 9-month suspension or something like that.
That's what you said, right?
Put them back both in the summertime. Khabib will put that off because of Ramadan. He's only gonna fight once this year, maybe late this year, and they're gonna try and make that the Conor fight. So maybe they're gonna try and do Conor and Cowboy, April, something like that. Try and get them one back again in August, and then maybe see if they can push a title fight later in the year.
Would it make sense for you to be on the same card? Those cards is nice to have that insurance because in case something happens, someone's right in there to. Yeah,
we'll see how this whole thing play out. Like you said, Dustin Poirier is still out there too, which I'm calling for that fight too. I mean, I think that'd be a great fight, me and him. It's just if they want to make it happen, and if he want to accept it. If they do Conor and Cowboy, I don't mind playing co-main event, me and Dustin underneath that. So
if Khabib gets a year
like that,
or more, should he be stripped, and should that thing open up?
It'd be ridiculous if he got a year. A year would be, to me, that would seem like they kind of wanted. Somebody got in the commission ear and was like, yeah, go ahead and give him a year. You know what I mean? Like they want to keep him on the shelf and keep him with the belt. They definitely not going to strip him. But a year would be ridiculous if he got it. I mean, at most he should have got like 6 months. I think they'll probably push it to 9. But, it wasn't really that big of a deal when you look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? Nobody really got hurt.
Go ahead, Goes.
Well, this is the argument him and I had yesterday was nobody got hurt, but why do we have to wait? Because the second it happens, somebody gets hit with a chair or something, then all of a sudden we're all going to go, what were we thinking? And then we come down on the next guy, right? Why not just get him now? But even that being said, I don't know that punishment.
Because those two guys just sold 2.5 million pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And I honestly I feel like nobody really wants it, other than even if there's a commission official that just, I hate this damn MMA anyway. I feel like everyone, the commission wants them to fight again. Those guys want to fight again. The UFC wants them to fight again, and MMA fans want them to fight again. Like I don't know. And he's right. And I said it before. Mark Ratner said it. No one got hurt. Luckily, the UFC had a good presence. Nevada's finest were there. I know what you mean. Send a message like the NBA when the Malice in the Palace came out. You remember that?
Yeah.
The big fight that broke out in Detroit. It was like 2005 or so. They went into the stands because fans got unruly. Yeah, exactly. And so the suspensions were so heavy, and I'm not sure if that's what initiated it. But have you ever noticed when an NBA fight breaks out, you can't step on the court, either that or you're right away missing a game. And if you miss a game, hurts your team. You don't get to play, and these guys love to play, and you don't get paid. So they have strict. It's almost like an overreaction. So I see what you're saying about the overreaction.
It's not so much for the fighters, though. It's more for the
people.
Yeah, because let's be honest. If that situation were to come up again, I mean, who was it? It was Ben Wallace, Ron Artest, a lot of those guys. If that came up again where they got heated, they're going to fight. That's just in them. They're competitors. It's going to happen again. It's more I think, to tell the fans, hey, we're looking out for you. If you got your brother, well, your brother can fight. But say your mom's at your fight.
Sure.
And somehow somebody trampled over her or Khabib accidentally elbowed her, man, you would feel like shit, right?
But I think the thing is, with this situation at least, it did kind of show off the power of the UFC to keep the people safe because nobody got hurt. You had 6 or 7 professional fighters in there trying to brawl in the crowd, and nobody got hurt. Nobody even really got shoved, or nobody got, it never spilled out. And I think that was enough to where they kind of got that point across. You know, like you can go, all hell can break loose, and then still nothing really happened. You know what I mean? The only thing that I could see a suspension or something doing is kind of trying to deter people from doing that in the future. The same thing with climbing over the cage and doing all this. If they suspend somebody, okay, the next guy, he's going to look at it and he's like, I ain't going to do that. But, I mean, I don't think nobody's really looking at that. And speaking as somebody who do some wild shit and really don't give a fuck about it, I'm not really, like, looking at that as that's going to deter me or make me do it more, you know what I'm saying, if they don't get nothing. Because they sold 2.5 million pay-per-views at the end of the day. And if somebody from the prelims or something think that they got that much clout where they can go in and try and start a brawl just because Khabib didn't get that big of a punishment or something, then they going to find out real quick, you know what I mean?
It's on the heels of what happened in Brooklyn with the bus, the dolly and all that. And then a lot of people just didn't like that the UFC was used. They come down and they say, don't do that. Are you crazy? You shouldn't be doing that. But then they go, hey, let's promote the fight with that. And I feel like the second that they did that, when they showed the promotion for that, they can't complain about anything you guys do at that point.
I never got that argument, though. It's like it is what it is. Like, what are you going to do? You're just going to ignore it and just pretend it didn't happen?
No, I'm saying you can do it. You just can't complain about it afterwards. Like,
you mean from the UFC?
If it were you that was in there, and they used that to promote your fight, and you did something crazy at the fight, how are they going to come down on you and say you shouldn't? You would look them back in the eye and go, well, then what are you promoting it for, right?
Right. I mean,
speaking of, the word's out. I have a terrible memory, right? But for whatever reason, didn't you take Conor to win that fight over Khabib?
I did.
Wasn't there a prediction?
Yeah. No, I called that one way wrong. I still, but right out the gate.
Did he show you a few things that, like, first round could have been a disaster, but he actually was able to minimize some of the damage before we got into round two?
I really thought that he lost the fight like the first 15 seconds, right when he took that first shot. And instead of pulling out and instead of staying tall and just pulling his leg out, Conor went down and tried to roll with him, almost to kind of like prove to Khabib that he can do it. And for me, like, it was just too arrogant. You know what I mean? It's too like instead of fighting his fight, and I'm saying this, and then in my last fight, I ain't fight my fight, so take it how you want. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm gonna call it like I see it. And he didn't fight the way that I expected him to, and he didn't fight. He just didn't fight his fight. He lost it in the first 15 seconds.
Really?
And then,
I didn't feel like he could have pulled his leg out, but I'll have to watch it again. I mean,
if you watch it again, he goes for a tight waist around his like a reverse tight waist, and he goes for the ankle.
Right.
And then as soon as he does that, Khabib just pops his head out. And Conor actually almost got it for a second, and he tried to kind of dump him off to the side, except, he just don't got the grappling skills like that. And he might have grappled with a lot of good guys, and, he rolling over there rolling around with Dylan and all this and think that he can roll all of a sudden. But when you do that, it's like, okay, you kind of killing yourself there. You know what I mean? If you just stick to what you're supposed to do, have a little bit more humility and go out there and fight your fight, then you would have won. But and I'm saying that, and then in the next fight, I don't fight mine. So, I'm kind of talking shit. But I'm gonna do that.
You didn't fight your fight, and you lost the fight. But have you ever won a fight not fighting your fight? I'm not saying that you felt like you got lucky, but you didn't do what you were supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, and it still worked out, and it still worked pretty good too. I'm trying to think like a great example of, when I fought Efrain Escudero, that was kind of one of those times, and it was the first time I kind of switched and went southpaw in a fight, and I really tried to fight on the outside, and still ended up winning that fight and winning the rounds where I thought, where I was really trying something new. I mean, and it ain't nothing wrong with trying nothing new in a fight. Hey, if you want to go out there and you really feel like you could take Khabib down, then do what you do, by all means. But, it's like that just wasn't what I was expecting. You know what I'm saying?
I know we got maybe a break coming up or so maybe this will be more of a tease. You tell me, George. Sure. But while we're on the breakdown talk, I can't remember what you had as far as a Tony Khabib, because I think that a lot of, especially the hardcores, people in the know, we all know the history, but also we all can't deny the importance of that matchup has to happen. But I also think, like you said, Dustin Poirier is right in that picture. So in that love triangle, if you will, in my opinion, kind of tipping my hand a bit, I feel like it's a real interesting triangle where one guy has an advantage over another more than the other two have. But I'm really curious to see how that little love triangle breaks down for you. I don't know if we
All right,
maybe
we'll save
tease
it
that.
when we come back. We'll take
Sure.
a break right now. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. We got UFC lightweight Kevin Lee in the house.
Hear SiriusXM at home, including on devices with Amazon Alexa. Learn more at SiriusXM.com/Alexa.
Looks like the same. 5G now?
They were abducted by aliens and instantly returned for raiding all their snacks. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
Oh, Kevin Lee picked the music, right?
No. Did y'all, were y'all digging the walkout song? This was my walkout song.
Okay. Yeah.
Digging it? No, yes, no.
I need energy from the top. But hold on, let's see. Let play it a little bit, Josh. Let's see what happens here.
Need to get myself together. I'm a mess right now.
I could do this. I can picture him walking through the tunnel.
You know, and there's a way. It's got to be a slow walk.
Yeah.
You got to be hooded up.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and see you do it again.
I was dancing the whole way.
But I don't think you can dance to this. You have to go. It's a slow strut.
I did it. I did it anyway. And I got some good feedback.
Did you?
I got like, which is good. You either want like really good or really negative feedback, and I kind of got like a mix of both of them. But shout out 21 Savage, #1 album in the country. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What was that concert
like
you went to where
now.
we didn't know? Do you remember?
It was Drake, I think. Oh no, it was J. Cole.
I've heard of
J.
Drake.
Cole.
Yeah.
I've heard of J. Cole.
How was that?
Oh, it was amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Off.
But I never heard of this last guy. So not only have I
21
not heard of
Savage?
it, I would have never known he was #1. Is he a guy?
Oh, boy, yeah. All right, I'm putting you on. 21 Savage. That's all I can say. Just go check out his album. Amazing. If you like a real smooth, real kind of calm, yeah.
All right, well,
gangster.
let me get this out. It's NHL All-Star Weekend, and SiriusXM has you covered tonight at 9 Eastern. Here are the 2019 SAP NHL All-Star Skills Competition on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91, and streaming on your phone and at home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. What were you going to say, Dan?
I was gonna say it feels like there's been a theme lately too of like, and I'm biased. I'm a '90s guy, but a lot of people doing throwback songs. I'm trying to look it up what Anthony Smith came out to, but he came out to like a '90s.
Return of the Mac.
Yeah, there we go. And that always gets me. As far as that genre, that's also my favorite part of that genre too. Those years. So I'm biased again, but I think it's more forgiving the beats and stuff.
I want the whole arena to feel the song.
Okay.
Not just a certain race, age, gender. You know what I mean? I want the whole arena to be popping. Now, I would do my research to make sure that I still like it. I mean, I just can't go out there and put Katy Perry just because everyone's going to go woohoo to it or whatever. I have to feel it, but at the same time, I also want everyone to feel it. I noticed that just people just love it, and all of a sudden they gravitate to you. And now then again. Fighters go in. Some of them go in to get paid. Others go in to build their fan base. I would like them both, honestly, because I feel like the fan base can also get you paid. But that's what I would be looking for a little bit more.
All right.
Okay.
This is the way I look at it. If you have a good walkout song, you can even turn the people that don't like you.
Yes,
great point.
And
Yeah.
I'll give you
Or
an
they
example.
get you to give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, what time is Jones and Alex Lamaller? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What time are they? And what time are Amanda, whoever? So you're just sitting there at some point, and because most fans are just like I am, sitting there just waiting. Hardcore fans are into it, but hardcore fans are like 20% of the arena. The rest are the casuals. But yeah, you're right. If you can turn them on like that with a song, your walkout, your post-fight speech. You're the one that's gaining traction. Guess what? The UFC notices that. Go ahead.
Here's what I remember. Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar. Everyone in that arena, not everyone, but the majority wanted Cain Velasquez. It was loud.
Yeah.
But when Brock walked out to Enter Sandman,
Oh yeah.
Metallica,
a lot of them people that were going, go Cain, they all were bobbing their
Nodding
head.
their head,
They were
yeah.
into it. They were
Yeah.
into the walkout.
It
I think that's
definitely
the sign of a
happens.
good one.
I would say this too: if a fighter you fight someone in Brazil. Now, again, I might be operating off a '90s stereotype, but Brazilians apparently love their metal and they love Iron Maiden. And I'd come out to Iron Maiden, Hollow Beat. Yeah, they're really big, like Iron Maiden, and even Pantera. They would have some of their biggest concerts and turnouts in Brazil. And yep, this one here, and the theme too. Is, you know, you're kind of it's like you're walking to the gallows is the music. So it's kind of a very humbling kind of a theme, and then it's something maybe I think you still get the vamos hey, but they'd be putting their lighters up, and you'd be getting that cool effect. And you know they might not even,
now, right?
yeah, exactly, and they might not even do that for and they'd be like, you know what, this guy knows what's up. He's coming, he gets it. He's coming to party.
You know, I guess for me, I always pick something that I'm feeling, and it's always how I'm feeling at the moment. And I feel like even with the last song, like it wasn't a big song yet, so not a lot of people even in the audience didn't know what it was. But if I'm feeling it, then most people are gonna be like, "Oh, okay," like, and they're gonna like turn on their little Shazam and they want to know what the song is. That gets me up a little bit more than kind of showing your old nostalgia and showing your old song that you already know. And I'm like, "Yeah, well, then what I'm out here for? You know, you can sit at home and play that shit."
Well, that was a polite way of saying my style sucks, right?
No, I mean, you know, no. It's
I get what he's saying.
It's just opposites. It's just, you know.
You can argue how much of a piece of a pie that factor is, but that is a factor that is true. That does translate. I know our producer Josh, he has something to weigh in on this, right, Josh?
I was just curious, and maybe that's because I'm a troll and I can't fight to save my life, but wouldn't it all... Is there ever any thought, Kevin and you guys, maybe to, like, troll your opponent and just come out to, like, some horrendous song just to piss them off?
Especially if you walk in second. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if... I'm trying to think of an example of somebody trying to do that. I mean...
Well, plus, aren't you coming out with headphones? Tried. Usually, aren't you coming out with headphones?
Yeah, usually.
So are you really playing it at the same time? Like, go! You know what I mean? You're usually either ahead or behind. Recently, some fighters are taking them off, and I'm like, the whole, you're feeling it. I mean, you should have. I don't know. What do I know? I'm not the one going. That's just how I'm doing it. All right, real quick. Yeah. Before the break, you had teased.
Right. Yes,
you wanted to hear a breakdown from Kevin? Was it Khabib and Tony or what?
Just how that love triangle. Who do you see beating who with Tony, Khabib, and Dustin Poirier?
You know, I really didn't put Dustin in there, and I still kind of don't. Even though I mean, he can beat anybody on any given night. For some reason, I still don't even put him in there. You know, even though it'd be a great fight for me next, I don't necessarily see him. I definitely don't see him beating Khabib. You know, if you say who beats who, I don't see Dustin really beating either one of the guys, to be honest with you. I mean, I think he might get Tony now, and I'm actually changing my prediction on what will happen with that Tony and Khabib fight.
What's your prediction
before
for it?
I thought Tony would just, he would outwork him. But in that last fight, Tony just didn't seem like the same man. He didn't seem he kind of seemed like a shell of himself. So I think the fight just goes totally different now.
On the other side, I thought Khabib would beat Tony, but I thought Tony looked great against Pettis. You didn't think he did, really?
Nah.
Who else said that? Somebody else. Was that you?
I didn't see the same.
Oh, was it Ali? Well, he's a little.
I didn't see the same like. I didn't see the same movement.
Tony,
and that's to be expected.
His hands were better. I mean, his footwork, his agility. He took it to Pettis as well. I thought his cardio might suffer, or even the hesitancy on like planting on the knee or exploding off the knee or anything like that. I mean, I thought it's too soon. What's he doing? And if anything, I thought he's looked better than in some of the other fights where he's kind of doing stuff. But I feel like a lot of it's either wasted or he's either 5 moves ahead of what I'm thinking.
You know, I just didn't like his movement, especially backing up. And Pettis has never won to really come forward, and he didn't throughout that whole fight. But Khabib is, and Khabib's gonna try. Khabib's they're almost gonna meet in the middle, and it's gonna be who wins that little battle. And Khabib's going better backwards than Tony is. So, as I'm looking at it, I just see Khabib probably wearing him out, and I don't think he might. I don't know if he'll stop him or not, but I see him beating him most times now.
I want to find some middle ground on this Tony Ferguson thing because I've heard this argument a lot from different
we got to
people.
find middle ground on the Kevin and George thing. We're disagreeing on everything.
Well, but here's the thing: can we agree with this?
All right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get lost up on whether Tony Ferguson had a good performance or a good performance for somebody who came off a major injury. I think a lot of people look at it and go, wow, for a guy coming off a big injury like that, he looks pretty damn good. And then I think other people are looking at it and going, yeah, but he took a lot of damage. And had you not, if you can just take away the fact that he had that major injury, you might be saying he needs to shore up his defense or stuff like that. I think a lot of people got lost up and just how amazing it was that he came back from a big injury like that and was able to perform in that fashion.
Yeah, there's definitely oh, sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
go ahead.
I was going to say there's definitely that factor for sure that exists goes. But I'm more on Kevin Lee's side, and I'm a big Tony Ferguson supporter. I think he's dark horse in the division. I think my prediction lined up with the same as Kevin, and although right now I'll probably still ride with Tony, and spoiler alert if I did a breakdown on the matchup and had to make a pick, but it's not as confident. And I think for a lot of the same reasons Kevin did. Now, in Tony's defense, it's to be expected. I don't expect him to show confidence and exploding and certain things, but I think something, and obviously Kevin, way more qualified. But what I think you were alluding to in those wrestling transitions, obviously Khabib's going to be the better wrestler, even the best version of Tony. You're picking Tony. You got to concede that he's quote unquote the better wrestler, but Tony, it's outworking him, like you said, creating those scrambles. But I would argue it's easier to strike injured or maybe be a more of a positional player if you're injured or you're not confident in a body part. But if you're going to scramble and have a scramble heavy approach like Tony has against one of the best wrestlers, everything has to be working 100% confident. And is that kind of does that factor into your change of pick there?
Yeah, I mean, and maybe I'm being a little biased here,
okay,
because I do feel like I fought the best Tony already,
right?
And just when I saw him in that last fight, I just kind of even removed that he's fighting Pettis, and I just look at the way that he's moving and the way or what he's doing and how he's looking. I don't necessarily think that Khabib's a better wrestler. I think people kind of underestimate that, and a lot of times Tony kind of has this weird style of kind of going with the flow. But like you say, he does have that scrambling style where you got to keep that up, and that's the way to beat Khabib, is just to keep moving and keep moving and keep going from position to position to position. If you let him settle, then he's just gonna take the round, and he's gonna eventually add those up against you. And I just don't see the movement there for him to keep going position to position. But I mean, I'm still gonna watch the fight if they make the fight. If they make that fight happen, it should happen. I mean, when we look at it from all angles, from a sporting perspective, for entertainment, whatever, that's the next fight that should happen. But it ain't looking good for Tony for me.
All right, we gotta take our last break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. I want to play a couple audio clips from not necessarily an interview, but Khabib Nurmagomedov, the UFC lightweight champion, was in a setting there, taking some, doing some Q&A, and he had some thoughts there about when he might fight again, after the NSAC hearing, and if he thinks Conor should get a rematch or not.
You have to dream the dream.
Do what they say. Your life will be a lot better. Here are Gorgeous and Goes.
All right, so we've talked a little bit about this exciting UFC lightweight division that includes Kevin Lee, our co-host here for the show. Of course, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Conor McGregor, Donald Cerrone's back, Tony Ferguson, Dustin Poirier. The list literally goes on and on, but it's a little bit at a standstill. Things will get cleared up at a hearing for the Nevada State Athletic Commission in which Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor will kind of plead their case to not get fined a lot and not get suspended for a long time. But we'll see. That happens next Tuesday, so that should be pretty big news. And then maybe that'll shake things out and we'll realize what's what, at least in the first half of 2019. However, we do have some audio of Khabib, courtesy of Submission Radio. They had put it out on their Twitter handle. I saw that, and Josh was able to scoop it up. Now, Khabib says here he doesn't know when he'll be able to fight again until the NSAC hearing. So that's kind of what he's clearing up. But let's hear him, Josh. Let's do cut number 1, please.
Honestly, I don't know nothing about my comeback. We have to wait next week or like end of this month, end of the January. They're gonna make decision about my future. Maybe they're gonna give me 9 months or 1 year. I don't know. And we'll see when they make decision how many months they're gonna give me suspension, and then we're gonna make a plan. Right now, we don't know nothing.
Now remember, Ramadan is observed this year. I stated this yesterday, from like May 5th, I believe, to early part of June. It's about 1 month. So realistically, I think the UFC would want to feature Khabib before then. There is a pay-per-view on April 13th, and April 13th would be just outside of 6 months from the fight that they had at UFC 229 this past October 6th or 7th. So it's a small window, all right? The next pay-per-view is like May 11th or 12th or 13th. By then, Khabib will be observing Ramadan. So I'm hoping that they give him 6 months retroactive to UFC 229. Now, the UFC would be in the tough position of whether they promote a fight or not while the guy's under technical suspension, knowing that he will come off. But that would be so ideal to have him get a fight then and then revisit a second fight sometime in the fall. Because, again, this is a stacked division. You know what I mean? There's some great fighters, and a lot of them are just kind of in a holding pattern and waiting. Now, here's his thoughts. Cut number 2, please, on Khabib, whether he thinks Conor should get the rematch.
I have a big team. You know, my father, Javier Hernandez, my management, you know, and everybody think a little bit different, you know. It's like, if you talk about, like, my father think different, Javier think different, my management think different, but when Athletic Commission gonna make decision, we're gonna sit with my old team and make decision what I'm gonna do next. But right now, it's like, if you guys ask me, of course he not deserve title shot very much, Conor, because he lose, you know, he tap, you know, and it wasn't close fight. I dominate him everywhere in every aspect. And I beat him, you know. Like I told, I smashed him. You know? Why we need rematch?
So there you have it from the champ. He thinks 9 months to a year, which now puts him past Ramadan, and maybe he can fit 2 fights in the second half of 2019. But he doesn't think Conor should get a rematch, even though that would probably be his biggest payday. What do you guys think? What do you think, Kevin?
I mean, you're pretty optimistic thinking that he's going to fight more than once this year. I mean, even before he was champ, Khabib, you know, you ask me, do I still love fighting? I mean, Khabib really never likes to fight. You look at it, I mean, he just don't fight a lot. And then each fight he's going to kind of pick and choose, too. So I think he only fights once this year at the end of the year. And, you know, it depends on who it's against. You know, I don't think they're not going to want to fight Tony, but that should be the fight to make. And then let the rest of us kind of figure out everything that's happening. But I'm kind of with him. You know, Conor definitely don't deserve a rematch. He shouldn't get one. I really don't even see how people are. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a big pay-per-view again, but it could be a lot bigger too. You know what I mean? If they played it right. Okay. So I don't necessarily see much of the motivation to go in and do an immediate rematch. It don't make sense.
All right, we're at the top of the hour break, so we'll be back in about 60 seconds or so. Our guest co-host for the show is Kevin Lee. Follow him on Twitter at Motown Phenom, and when you do that, you'll take a peek and see who might be his next opponent. They've been chirping at each other on Twitter, so get in there and follow both fighters. We'll be right back.
Move heaven, hell, and anything in between to get to you. You wouldn't be safe anywhere if I was mad at you. And that's not bull, Dip. That's truth. I've went up against people. You could pull a gun on me, and if I'm mad at you, I'm coming forward. You'd have to shoot me to stop me. But if you don't kill me, you're stupid. So next time you see me,
This song's stupid.
I will kill you.
Oh shit, it's picking up.
During the commercial break, they were probably talking smack about their next guest, but now they're going to act like they're all cool with him. Here they are, George and
Goes, that's going to get us in trouble one day. There's going to be some moody fighter that's going to be like, you guys were talking shit? What the fuck?
Come on.
All right.
Just telling the truth.
Nah, the next guy is a real cool cat. We've enjoyed covering him as he's risen through the UFC lightweight ranks. And, things have gone his way most of the time. However, in his last fight, he did take a loss to Donald Cerrone, although I really, taking a few steps behind and watching as a media guy and as a fan, I felt he hit a lot of check marks on fight week. And I'm really glad he's doing this interview. Again, these losses are tough, and so credit to Alexander Hernandez, our next guest, for coming on the show. We're really anxious to talk to him. Hey, how's it going, Alexander?
Hey, not the words given the circumstances, but yeah, you're doing all right. How you boys?
We're doing great, man. Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with George, Goes, and Dan. And we also have UFC lightweight Kevin Lee as our co-host for the day. And so I wanted to just keep going on what I was saying. I really loved your build-up during the week. I think you did what it took. And all of a sudden, even though you guys weren't in that co-main event slot, a lot of people were talking about your guys' fights. And that's what I want to see, because a lot of fighters get lost in the shuffle, and you made sure you didn't. Now, at the end of the fight, you went out there, you competed, you had your moments, and even though things didn't go your way, I thought you took some time to decompress, chill out, collect your thoughts, and I thought you put a very classy Instagram post up talking, giving praise to, obviously, Donald Cerrone, but also talking about how you learned something valuable in defeat. Man, I'm telling you, that's what a man does right there, and I give you props.
I appreciate that greatly, brother. For sure, there's definitely a lot to be taken away from that. Yeah.
Right. And so tell me, you feel like you learned tactics-wise, the mental approach-wise. You said you learned a lot about fighting, but maybe give us a little bit of specifics of where you learned the most in this loss.
Yeah, man. Going out there, it's a lot of what I said in that post, too. Going out there, I feel God sent. And I'm not just talking just to fucking talk. I'm not talking to hear my voice because I'm pulling shit out of my ass. And everything I say, I believe to the fullest. And I went out there 100,000% sure that I was going to round. I'm still baffled at the outcome, but I'm coping with it. But I believe to the deepest extent of my core that I was going to demolish Cerrone and win that fight. And I realized, I've watched the fight about 7 times since. And I watch it, and I see where experience overcame my tenacity. I went in there, sure I was going to kill him. And watching that fight, I had him. I landed huge shots in the beginning, and he did a tremendous job of rolling with it. I hit this huge 2 in the beginning, and I almost reflected on him a little too much in the sense of like, okay, he ate that pretty well, and he kept pressing. I could see it in his eyes, a sense of, but not like his prior fights. But I could see him kind of roll his heels a little bit and start to question things, question himself. And I instead of sitting back and being patient after it was about minute 3, I should have sat back, let him come to me, be a little bit more patient, let the shots come. I had this like idea in my head that I just had to keep getting the next one. I don't let him breathe. Let's get the next one. Let's get the next one. And where I pressed, he was patient, and I pressed to my demise. I gave up shots. I was forcing shots that went there instead of picking the ones that could have been readily available had I played a smarter game, a more tactical game. And so I started exposing myself, giving shots, let that clinch game open, and that was kind of the edge in the fight with landing a good elbow over the eye. And when you see, you see somebody start leaking, it's like this primal instinct. And like innate adrenaline rush starts coming, and you can taste the blood. And we made eye contact, and I was like, "Motherfucker! I just gave this guy the edge," and he knew it too. He saw it. I didn't stop bringing it in, and I just, should have slowed down at times. I got him on his heels, got moving, and I had it in my hands, and I pressed to my own demise. I fell on my own sword. So it's everything to take out of it. It's kind of a lot of that's what got me where I'm at, but I kind of hit this wall in the sense of now I need to go back and rewire. I need to rewire and be patient in moments when I've got control. And sometimes you're in there, and for me especially, it's like I'm moving 6 seconds for every one reality second. And like I'm watching that fight, I'm like, slow down, young man. Like, just calm the fuck down, dude. You have it, dude. Just chill the fuck out. And so I'm watching that, and it's like, it's frustrating. And it sucks because I know I had that fight in the bag, and I should have. And to my amateur experience, rookie rather, I expected to put the cherry on the cake. Like you said, that whole week, it was a beautiful build-up. And I felt it. I felt everything. Again, I'm not just talking on my fucking ass. I feel it, and I know it to be true. And I went in there too much, building into the allure of this guy's going to get on the fork before you just lay down the plate. And that motherfucker came to fight, and he did. It's probably one of the best running I've ever seen. And that can obviously be taken biasly being in front of him, but I think even objectively speaking, he brought it where the old him would have broken or stiffened up, stopping a lot of those shots. He stuck with it, and he practiced patience where I was impatient, and so he did a hell of a job. Experience took him.
Incredible insight there, because I feel like a lot of young fighters have also had that early success, and they feel indestructible, and then a veteran may check them. But, you go back and learn, but you get a lot of valuable experience. Luckily, you guys, this didn't happen, in 10 seconds or 20 seconds. You actually got to share the octagon for some you got some cage time, we call it. So, again, thank you for opening up like that. I want to watch the fight again now, knowing exactly what you're telling me here, but still.
Yeah, no, it's good. I've been watching. You type our names into Google and MMA Core, and I streamed that motherfucker, like I said, about 7 or 8 times, and I'm watching. I'm just like, God, dude, yeah.
Just get the UFC pass, the UFC fight pass, player. Everything's there. You don't have to
no, we're ESPN now, brother. No,
or ESPN or whatever. But that core is going to get you viruses or whatever.
All
right, Goes. What do you have for Alexander Hernandez?
I'm called the torrent of the underground web. Yeah.
Alex, those sentiments that George shared at the very beginning of the interview, a lot of people thought the same thing. We were all in awe of just the way you handled yourself and all before and after. But that being said, what about like Dana White, the matchmakers? Did they have any words to share with you along those lines, and even Cowboy Cerrone himself?
Yeah, that's why I was disappointed I didn't get to stick around. New York's pretty critical and pedantic about everything. They really try to bundle you up, and they made a point beforehand that there's going to be doctors on site nonstop, and afterwards, I was all there, and they just. They immediately try to pull me aside and pull me to the back, and I was, I was mad that I wasn't even there in the fucking cage when they announced it. They want to look like I was, died, like I was missing an action or something, and so, they pulled me aside, and I was in the back, and I needed stitches over the eye from the elbow, but otherwise I was just kind of like, I don't need to go to the hospital. I feel fine. Obviously, you get hit, you're a little nauseous once it settles and whatnot, but I was like, just give me some water, give me a minute, I'll be fine. And New York and Fifth, so got on a little bus, went to the back, wasted some time at the hospital. I did have some fractures in my nose and eye, my left orbital, but I'm already just shy of gorgeous again. I feel like I'm pretty close to it, so I did heal fast, but I didn't get to talk to anybody in the back, Donald, or I didn't expect him to talk to Donald, but I didn't get to talk to anybody. And again, I didn't really expect him to talk to me. I didn't get done, and I wasn't wondering, where my like condolences were. I wasn't looking. I didn't expect anything from anybody. I just, just have to cope with myself and get to the next one. I'm just trying to let this face it and get back to the next thing. That's all I'm thinking about.
Donald has had a little bit of a resurgence in his career, but he's kind of even said it himself that there's not that much time left on that career. Do you feel like your paths could cross again? Like this fight could ever happen another time?
Oh, that'd be extraordinary, dude. That'd be so fucking sweet. I don't know. And if it does, beautiful. If it doesn't, I understand why it wouldn't. And no matter what, it was a learning lesson. And if it wasn't this one, it would have been the next one, because the approach I had needed to change. And I mean, the mental approach of me going in there, and I said it in that, that post you referenced earlier. The best and worst thing that maybe ever happened to me was that 42-second knockout, because I go in there and I just expect to execute it, man. And I know it fucking wholeheartedly, and I know I'm capable of it, but when it doesn't happen, it's like, okay, now we got to fight. And I start questioning, and I start forcing, and I start growing impatient, and that's rookie shit that needs to change. And I see it, and it's easier to say than do, but I'm the most aware person I know, and honestly, I think I'm cognitively above any of these guys, and I think that if there's anybody who can make these fucking adjustments, it's me. I didn't see myself being the man I am by now, and just to get to the next level, I know I can fucking do it. It's just going to be it's going to be a mountain, a hurdle, but I wish I got to this one first, but yeah, I'll get to where I need to be. I know it has to be done.
Alexander Hernandez, UFC lightweight, is our guest here. He's coming off a recent loss to Donald Cerrone, and we're reflecting on it. All right, Dan, Tom, what do you have for Alexander Hernandez?
Hey, Alex. I always love hearing you break stuff down, and I'm enjoying it even more listening to you break stuff down, post, even when things, didn't necessarily go your way. It increases my respect for you. But let me ask you, obviously it's not your guys' jobs to worry or even change the minds of fans or this, but, maybe if Kevin wants to, he can weigh in after this, but I see him in a similar boat where, when you talk a big game and then you deliver, like, for example, a Conor McGregor, they call you Mystic Mac and this and that, but it's a fight game. They all can't just go your way exactly how you predict, obviously, and when it doesn't, obviously the fans, again, not your guys' responsibility to change their opinion on this, but yes, they're a bit fickle, right, and they come back on you. And I guess I'm asking you this, Alex. Obviously, you made a great statement, a great presence for yourself with the, in the press conference leading up. But maybe because of Cerrone being a fan favorite, or just because of the outcome, people could criticize and say, the trash talk. But again, back to your point, and this is where I bounce it back to you, where it doesn't make you, obviously we know from media interviewing fighters, it doesn't make you a bad person just because you're quote unquote talking trash or putting on a show. And on the second part, at the end of the day, what matters, you still believe that you're the best, and you need to. Kind of what you're touching on here. Are any of these things ringing true with you?
Absolutely, man. That fight taught me what feels like everything, but sure as shit didn't teach me to doubt myself. I'm not going to go in there any less fucking confident. I said that, again, 100% certain I was going to win that fucking fight. And I'll believe that on the next fight, too, because I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I'm not going to go in there and fucking doubt myself. I'm certainly not going to approach this legend of a dude like a fucking fan. I'm not going to fucking stroke his ego or pander the cowboy idea. I'm going in there to end this man, and I'm preparing to kill him. That's literally how I think. And so, the thought of, like, approaching something as, like, quote, humble, it's like, you've never been on this platform before. You never stood where we're standing. And you sure as shit don't know what it takes to be a champion. And so it's like, the idea of changing any of that, no, absolutely not. I believe everything I say, and I say it for a purpose. And it's not to just, like, toot my own shit or hear myself talk. And the ignorance beyond people to believe that, like, they didn't draw themselves in more because of the shit that I'm saying, because I'm original. It's like, shut the fuck up, man. And just enjoy the show and respect the show. But don't talk out of turn. And certainly online right now, and like I said, I'm sure Kevin Lee's experience, everybody fucking does. It's like a cesspool of mediocrity online of people just talking. It's like, it doesn't matter. The tides of the general opinion, they sway, they move. And my story is so far from being finished. This is just adds to it. This just builds momentum, and I'm gonna come back. And when it's all said and done, you'll see. It's just part of it, part of the journey.
Hey, absolutely. And in the spirit of not seeing things, or at least the public not seeing things in quite so much black and white, maybe getting into more specific to your situation, like you said, you're not going to approach Cerrone like a fan. We've seen what happens. And we've also seen people have success against Cerrone when they kind of try to get into his head or aren't too pleasant with him. So not in your defense, but just maybe kind of peeling back the curtain, if you don't mind. Was that part of the strategy with all that, with that talk and bravado? Not that you lack it in the first place, but was there a strategy to it?
Yeah, no matter who is sitting across me is going to receive a verbal onslaught. And that's just me talking about me, because I'm not going to be shy about what I think I'm capable of. And I wasn't bastardizing his child or talking about his wife or anything like that. It's just a matter of fighting, and that's just plain and dry like that. It does help the fact that he falters at that. Generally, he sure shit did on Saturday. He did a great job of composing himself. I saw it on Friday. But he, it certainly was also in my mind that, God, we're just going to break this guy that much easier because of the mental warfare going in. I just expect every time I see my opponent for it to be an altercation. And I'm not trying to go out of my way to spill a game or anything. It's just the way it is. And if they break, they break. And Cerrone traditionally breaks. This time, he was very, very flustered at the Thursday press conference. I saw it. Friday, he came in and what I thought he conceded. But I don't think he was conceding in hindsight. Now I think he was just trying to relax as much as possible so he didn't get as worked up as he did on Thursday, and he would come in loose and comfortable on Saturday. So the man did fucking good. He did good. He seemed to be beyond his old self of a lot of the tendencies he'd have or stuff like that. Again, his experience showing him when he was patient, I was impatient. And God, what a fucking lesson that was to learn, you know?
All right. Now, I don't want to do a corny transition or anything, but we have a fellow lightweight here in studio with us. He always keeps it pretty real. Kevin, I saw you kind of like, you know, when Alexander was talking, you it seemed like you were either understanding or who knows what. I'll let you speak on that. But I kind of remember you kind of going through something similar. You know, you came in the UFC, you started off like 4-0, 5-0, and then Leandro Santos, a fight where early on you could just tell this is going to be your night, and then that, I think it was a spinning elbow or whatever. Can you relate to anything of what he's saying? Because you're a little bit further on in your career, but it's similar in age, and you know.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I feel everything you're coming from. You know, experience definitely do play a huge factor into the game that most people don't really see. You only know it because you've been in there and you can kind of feel it. And I feel what you're talking about with, you know, fuck fans. I mean, they gonna
not
feel
fans,
the way
some fans.
Look, I say what I say. Like, you know, they gonna feel how they gonna feel.
But there's like 6 jackasses out of 100 that are like poking you guys. The rest are cool.
I'm with you, but you know, you ain't thinking about that when you know. I think at the end of the day, you just got to speak your truth. You know, me and 2 guys, we can look at the same thing, and I'm seeing something totally different than he's seeing. You know, I'm just gonna at least for me, I'm gonna always keep it honest with you. And I'm just gonna tell you what I'm seeing. And if I feel like I'm gonna whoop somebody else, I'm just gonna tell you that way. And you know, regardless of how you say, whether you like me or not, even those 100, you know, those 94 people or whatever you say. Fuck them. Like, I mean, I like them. I mean, they cool, but I'm not processing they you know, their feelings aren't in my head when I'm saying what I'm saying.
All right.
So I'm with you on that. I mean, the only question I got for you is who you trying to fight next and when you trying to make it happen.
Man, I don't give a fuck. And I keep saying I don't care about the style, the shape, or the size of the person. It doesn't matter to me. But I am trying to get a fight. Summertime. Summertime's where I'm kind of projecting right now. I don't want to get touched in the face, obviously, for a couple months to let that completely heal up, and then I got to rewire some shit. And I'm not going to be shy about that. I got to go back and rewire some shit. So, summer's what I'm thinking. Whoever. We just got to climb back to the top.
I feel it.
All right.
That's it.
Well, again, man, I really thought you played your poker hand pretty exceptional. I mean, look, the fight at the end of the day didn't go your way. But had you won, I'm telling you, your win would have been worth what some of these other numbskulls get when they go out there and win. Your win would have been like worth 3 times as much because you actually gave fans emotion, whether they wanted you to get knocked out by the Cowboy, because some are Cowboy fans, or they're like, who's this new guy? I want him to take out the old guy. Whatever. And you got people interested in it. You guys are prize fighters, and you're supposed to get people interested in your fights so that the prize keeps getting bigger and bigger. So I thought you played your hand excellent. And then at the end, you showed some class. So, I mean, you know, hey, you're young, man. You still got plenty of chances to, you know, continue to climb that mountain.
Yeah, 100%.
Thanks very much for the time, Alexander. We really appreciate it. Heal up, and hopefully we'll talk to you in the spring about whatever matchup they give you for the summer.
Absolutely. Good talking to you, boys.
All right,
Have a good
you
one.
too. All right, we'll see you. All right, that is Alexander Hernandez. I love somebody that talks up a game, man. I really do. I know that that it can hurt when things don't go your way, but I'm telling you, you take these big steps forward. You're not going to be one of those guys where you go, hey, man, you're 8-0. How come you're not fighting any contenders or a title, you know? And that guy knows he's either a decisionator or nobody gives a fuck because he hasn't let people give a fuck about him. You know what I mean? But then there's people that are like foreigner. They're like, whoa, you're main eventing. Why do you think that is? Because they give fans a reason, and doesn't always have to be smack talk. Doesn't always have to be curse words. Some people are creative on social media. Some people are, buttoned up with a tie, and maybe they have four-syllable words. Whatever. You just have to placate a little bit to a lot of the casuals out there, because remember, the UFC knows the hardcores are going to buy the pay-per-view. It's how many casuals are going to buy it. Yeah. All right, enough of that. Let's take a break. That's what I want to do. I want to take a break. We also have a Bellator fight coming up tomorrow, the end of the heavyweight Grand Prix. I'd love for Kevin to give us his prediction on who he thinks is going to win, Fedor Emelianenko or Ryan Bader. That's going to be a great main event out at the Forum in Inglewood. So stay close. Don't touch that dial, and we'll be right back.
charm, compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better.
She is eating ribs in the back. She hears that music and says, "Oh shit, that's my jam." She puts it down, licks her fingers, and walks out. And that's the song that's playing.
Damn.
I can't. I don't think I. I think I can tell that story because he's moved on. Well, you know.
Fired him.
Yeah. No. Let's do this daily debate first. Let's do the daily debate. All right. So, guys, here's the deal here. Does the overall success of Bellator's Heavyweight Grand Prix tomorrow, does it all depend on the quality of the Bellator 214 main event between Fedor Emelianenko and Ryan Bader? I think some can say it's kind of been a success, especially with Fedor getting there all the way to the end, and then the story of a light heavyweight making some noise at heavyweight. So I feel like, you know, they got two good players here. But does it have to be like an epic fight, or can one guy dominate? You know, what are your guys' thoughts? I mean, I need a yes or a no, but well, actually, they said no, it's already a success, or yes, the final has to be good. Where do you sit, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's already a success, and I'll just go ahead and steal the great Josh Barnett's take on a Pride documentary. He was saying the beauty of tournaments and Grand Prix. Sure, you don't always get the best fighter, the most elite fighter, the most elite athlete. A lot of times it's the toughest guy on the night. Obviously, Bellator did it where they split it. But like you just said, George, the key word you said, story, right? You still get stories. Now, I would argue this is one of the better outcomes that could have happened, so even furthering my already a success theory. But I would even still vote the same guys, no matter whose name you put in there, because they're re-injecting the conversation of tournaments into mixed martial arts, which is just opportunity to put another title on the line, even if it's just a Grand Prix title, because those titles, those opportunities translates to paydays for the fighters and opportunities for the fighters. So, I think it's already success, and hopefully they do more.
All right, I'm going to go with yes, the final has to be good, and I'll tell you why. Because I think they need Fedor to win. If Ryan wins, he's not going to defend. I think he wants to be a reigning light heavyweight. I might be wrong. But if he does stay, then I guess it's a whole different thing. I just wouldn't want him to win like a fine round decision where he does the same thing he did to Mitrione. Because if he goes to light heavyweight, the heavyweights are going to be fighting to be the baddest man at heavyweight. They're not even the baddest man in the promotion, much less the planet, using air quotes, because the light heavyweight just wound up winning the Grand Prix. So if he's going to do it, then he needs to be spectacular and hopefully even maybe compete at that weight class and you know, go back and forth, which we all know it's tough to do. So I just think it's so much easier for Fedor to go in there and just ice him. You know what I mean? That's not what I think is going to happen. I think Bader's going to win. But if Fedor were to do that, then there's the claim of, hey, the greatest heavyweight of all time. He fights for Bellator. You know what I mean? I think Bellator's got just way more to play there, especially on the public relations side. The scary thing is he's now in his 40s, and he's already entertaining retirement. How long is he hanging around? Who knows?
Right.
Goes?
It's already a success, and I think we can base that on the fact that there's already a welterweight Grand Prix going on. I think they've already seen the reception of what's been going on. They like it.
50 Cent's putting $1 million of his own money.
Spraying people with champagne, too.
I like what you said, and it's the fact that would it be a success for Bellator to have the winner of the heavyweight Grand Prix be a light heavyweight? So the greatest heavyweight in Bellator right now is a light heavyweight. That probably wouldn't look good for the promotion. So I think they do need Fedor to win that. But as far as the overall thing, I think it's been a success.
How about you, Kevin? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's already been a success just because I even care about it, really. There hasn't been many tournaments, especially that Bellator's done, because they used to do a lot of tournament formats and stuff. And, you know, they would do them, and you really wouldn't care, and especially not until they got to the finals. Even when PFL did it, and I enjoyed the PFL, especially I think it's good that they are around having that $1 million tournament and all that. They just didn't do a great job of capturing you throughout the whole thing. And Bellator actually, I mean, each fight gave me something, you know. It made me actually want to watch it, which it's been a long time, especially in a tournament that's happened. So as far as Bader winning, you know, I don't know. I think you can make the argument. I mean, the same thing just happened over in the UFC. Daniel Cormier is now the heavyweight champion. He was the light heavyweight champion. You know, that kind of worked out well for them.
But he did start off as a heavyweight, too. He started off like 12-0 as a heavyweight, won the Strikeforce heavyweight Grand Prix, so he had a history there.
That's true, but, you know, you never know. In hindsight, it might be the best thing to happen. You never know how them things will play out. The Bellator heavyweight division has always been – I mean, I can't name one Bellator heavyweight that Bellator actually groomed. I mean, I can't think of nobody. So, you know, maybe this might be the best thing for him. You never know. I mean,
There's one guy, but you're right. He hasn't been around for Bellator. It's Vitaly Minakov, the undefeated heavyweight who had a contract dispute, and I guess he's going to maybe fight the champ. But you're right. It's just been fighters that they've signed into the promotion, and the other ones just they haven't had rousing success. All right. Here's how the voting went. 57% said no, it's already a success. 43 said yes, the final has to be good. So it remains to be seen. Tomorrow night, Bellator 214. Catch it on DAZN and Paramount, 9 p.m. Eastern. By the way, 330 votes came in, and that was the split there, almost right down the middle. There you have it. There's the daily debate brought to you by the MMA Junkie Radio team and UFC lightweight Kevin Lee. Hey, real quick, you mentioned PFL. A fighter that I will not name said he had to wait a few days, and I imagine all of them had to wait a few days. Nevada State Athletic Commission, maybe some P tests or blood tests had to come back, make sure everything was good. But the wires have been received, and he said it was awesome to wake up,
Merry Christmas,
hit that app, and then see what was there. Of course, I think Uncle Sam takes. I think there's some taxes that get taken out, but either way, he was all smiles. So happy for those guys. Lance Palmer, a teammate of yours, he got one of those. He wasn't the one. Yeah. I'll rule him out.
Okay.
But Vinny almost got hit, got one as well. But anyway, I can't wait for the next season. All right, we got a phone call. Who we got, Goes?
Hal from Chicago.
What's up, Hal? How you doing?
Oh, what's up, guys? Hey, listen, first I just want to say, how you doing, Kevin Lee? Thanks for coming in, man.
What's happening? What up? Appreciate it.
These guys, they did a poll. In-N-Out Burger was #1. Okay, we'll give it to you. That's the vote. But it's heavily biased West Coast, no? I mean, it's Junkie Nation is like 72% West Coast. So I think it's a West Coast thing. They were fighters. Well, okay, touche. I'll tell you what, they have the best ingredients.
Do you have the list still, Dan?
Do you have the best?
Hang on a second, Hal. Maybe we'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
He can keep talking if you want me to pull it up, but either way, how you want to do it.
Who were they?
All right, so whatever.
Who said In-N-Out?
Josh, who's on the East Coast. Let's see. The next In-N-Out was Benil Dariush, West Coaster, to his point.
They digging in you.
Big John is a West Coaster.
Was in facts, baby.
Big John was a West Coaster, In-N-Out.
From Boston.
Cub Swanson, who I was laughing in the chat because I was like, the Cub Swanson's on next. I'm like, oh, this guy's practically got the logo tattooed on his body. Of course he's gonna go for In-N-Out. But Cub Swanson was my favorite answer because he had the caveat where he brings his own ingredients, because that's my criticism in how they don't have enough options. So Cub will bring his own stuff in there. But yeah, to your point, Hal, that's a West Coaster. Mike Pyle, Southern guy
from
Tennessee, but lives out in Vegas still.
Well, then we can say Big John lives out in Tennessee now.
Another confusing one, Eve Edwards kind of fits the same bill, doesn't he? And he's the last In-N-Out Burger vote I have on here.
He's from Austin, Texas. He's from Houston, Texas. Now lives in Austin. At one point, worked at American Top Team, or lived there, trained there, coached there, but now he's in the West Coast. So, all right, maybe it was balanced. Who knows how? Did you give us yours or no?
Yeah. Well, it was a Wendy's double.
Oh, I'm with you. Fist bump. I love that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's great. But look, Kevin, I got two questions for you, man. One is, we hear this talk of, there's some sports book even put odds on Stephen A. Smith versus Derek Carr. Whatever, Derek Carr would kill him just on cardio. But so first question is, who would you like to fight? Which celebrity you would like to fight the most? And second question is, you got a brash personality, and some people, you're polarizing. But what people don't know, you're a good guy. I know you're just trying to make it here. Does it disappoint you that in this day and age, it pays more to be the heel, to be that guy who's trash talking, instead of just in the old days, us hardcores? We remember when a guy who just showed up, worked hard, and was honest and did his job in the cage, and that's who you are. And I know, because I know these guys, and they speak very highly of you, and I've met you, and you're just a good dude who works hard and comes every day, man. You're all the way from Detroit. You're trying to make it. Does it disappoint you that that's not enough, that you got to play it up? And then you got corny guys like Colby, Yeah. Never mind him. But anyway, those are my two questions, all right? Take it off the air. Good luck, man.
Thank you. Celebrity fighting question. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might be a little off there with the olden days where you just kind of valued hard work, dedication, all that. Yeah, I mean, maybe looking back, that's what you would want to say, how you feel like it was. But during the time, everybody hated Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? Everybody hated. So I don't think you can name me one fighter that people love now that when they were there, people didn't hate. You know, and it's just like you said at the top of the hour. It's like if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. So,
which I stole from you.
I mean, that's just
no. If you ain't if you ain't got haters, you ain't popping.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, do I look at that and be like, it's just a game. You know what I mean? That's just how it is, especially here in America. I mean, do I hate it that it's got to be that way? Sometimes it gets a little annoying. Sometimes it's you know, it ain't all it's cracked up to be. But then at the same time, who gives a fuck? You know, who gives a fuck? To be honest, so I think when you look back on it, and hindsight's always 20/20.
You might be onto something.
People hate the same person that you hate now. 20/20 vision, you're gonna be like, you know what? I used to actually love that motherfucker. It's like hate is like the same thing as admiration.
Would we be better off if we just came in on Monday and said, Cowboy for one, should he fight Conor? And we say, yeah, he should, yeah, he shouldn't. But then at the end, we just shrug to each other. Well, who gives a fuck, right? And just move on to the next fight instead of going, nah, man, it should be this. Because in 2015, do you remember when Dana White said? And all of a sudden, we get all agitated and we're bagging on each other.
That's fun, though. You know what I mean? That's the fun. Is the agitation? Is the get up? You know what I mean? That's what some people just come just to boo. You know what I mean? And who am I to tell somebody how to have fun and enjoy themselves? Sometimes I like to show up just to talk shit and just to boo. So, you know, like, I can't hate you for that. I just give the people what they want. And that's all it is. I forget what his other question was.
Who would you fight? Celebrity fight? If you had to fight a celebrity.
Celebrity fight.
I want to know your guys' too. Just curious if you guys were chambering one.
I do Stephen A.
Yeah,
hey,
really.
I give it to people.
I could take him. Pick someone else.
A lot of people gave a lot of slack to Stephen A. But as far as I know, he was the only one to really call TJ getting knocked out that quick. You know, he kept calling his chin. He said he was chinny. He said he was going to leaves himself too far open. A lot of people gave him shit for his first time on ESPN. But I'm like, for a man who don't know how to fight.
So why do you want to fight him? You're giving him props.
Because he's tall. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know, because he just was, you know, he mentioned Stephen A., so I'm like, fuck it, I'll fight Stephen A.
Because he's tall?
LeBron for sure.
You'd fight him?
Yeah?
I'm pretty safe. For sure.
Is it bad blood there? What's going on?
He's tall and
but
he's
I can
skinny.
take Stephen A. Smith.
And, you know, I'm not saying, I well, no,
but there's got to be
whoop LeBron's ass.
There's got to be a celebrity you hate more than those two. It seems like one's tall and the other
just one that I hate.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean I mostly want to fight him just for the competition of it.
Okay.
It ain't gonna be a competition.
I don't really hate I don't really know nobody to really hate like that.
Really?
So I kind of be
I'll give you my two real quick. I'll give you the guy that I would talk crap to and duck because no matter where in the timeline, he's a basketball player too. So no matter where in the timeline, I'm getting smashed. But that's Shaq. And I think I already went over my reasons for that. But then I would talk crap to him and duck him, but then I would fight Michael Bay for just being one of the most overrated, piss-poor, and sometimes borderline racist film directors.
Oh.
Well, all right.
There we go. I got a chamber.
Too much. I think
Michael Bay? You don't know Michael Bay?
What are the movies? Just tell me the movies.
His best movie was The Rock. That was fun. But he does all the Transformers and all the Hollywood popcorn BS movies. And he's an awful director.
Do you think you'd beat Shaq?
Huh? No, that's what I said. I would talk crap and I would duck Shaq because no matter
like calf kick
where in the timeline, like I think like even like I would have to be like prime Dan Tom and I'd have to like get like 11-year-old or younger Shaq to have a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a real small window.
How would you fight Shaq? Calf kicks?
No, I would
calf kicks.
I would have to roll into a knee bar or something.
Fuck no! Then he's just gonna drop an elbow on you.
You can't reach me.
Hands.
Huh?
You give Shaq hands. I want straight for that.
Hell no! How you gonna reach him?
You, not me.
Oh, okay, all right.
How am I gonna get there? Look like
I mean,
Little
you
Mac
can hit him in the
fighting,
nuts.
Super Macho Man.
What about Mark Wahlberg or Mario Lopez? Would you fight either one of those?
Mark Wahlberg, you know, he's. It's hard for me to really like judge actors because they act. You know what I'm saying?
But I've seen interviews where he does, and it's like he's still a little bit like
a little douchey.
Like it's your honor. It's an honor for you to have me on. Or something
I see what
like
you're
that.
saying. I mean,
and then other actors will come on and really be like we'll call it charming or nice or whatever, where you're like, oh, he's a pretty cool guy, you know.
But then, like, I've spent a lot of time down in Hollywood now, especially now that my agency's down there, and everybody kind of seemed like they putting on an act. You know what I mean?
That's because you can fight and fuck people up.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So, all right.
So I look at it that way.
You said there's another call?
Yes.
Who we got?
Kevin from Chicago.
What's up, Kevin? How you doing?
What's up? I got a question for Kevin Lee real quick. So last time I called in, you said Gregor Gillespie. You said you weren't too impressed with him. You said nothing special, even though he's an NCAA champion. I'm just wondering, what did you think of his last fight? And any thoughts changed, or you still hater on Gregor Gillespie?
Okay, Gregor, I give it to you. I mean, you Kevin from Chicago, whatever. All right, Gregor. I didn't know that they had cell reception out there in the sticks. But
Chicago's the sticks?
This is Gregor.
It's Gregor.
Gregor don't have no.
Oh, okay, all right.
Let's be honest. Gregor got robbed in New York. He's from New York. You know what I mean? Like, come on, Gregor ain't got no fans. But no, I was impressed with that last fight, and that's definitely a fight that I'm looking at now. I would be giving him a shot and coming up. I've already kind of put out my offer out there. I'm just waiting to hear back from him now. The kid can fight. He's undefeated, and like you said, I really wasn't too impressed with him before. But that last fight versus Yancey, he did all right. So I think I might go ahead and get that one done. It's just on him whether he want to have it or not. But yeah. I mean,
I was impressed.
Fight.
Are you still there, Kevin from Chicago?
Yep.
Okay.
It's Gregor from New York.
Gregor from Long Island, some fishing boat.
Let's keep it real
with
here.
good cell reception. I was impressed with your fight, and I think I may have stated that the fights tend to go to more of a decision, but he's actually got like 5 finishes in a row. It's just it's just slow, man.
Yeah.
It's like watching the NFL, a team that just always runs the ball. Except on third and long, then they'll pass it.
Yep.
Or like watching Hickory basketball, there must be 4 passes before we take a shot. It's not run and gun or whatever, but he does get the job done. He's relentless. He has good cardio. But now, see, that style, along with, I don't want to talk about my opponent before the fight. I don't want to do call-outs. You know what I mean? Don't boo me. I mean, like, oh, man, it's just get him off. Get to the next cat. You know what I mean?
You're not lying.
But he might walk in here and be the coolest, do whatever. I don't know. But what I've seen, I can honestly see a lot of fans thinking like me and just going,
well, yeah,
let me know when he fights again, but I'm not that interested. Now, when Poirier fights, I mean, I'm hinging on his every word like a high school cheerleader. Like,
sure.
When's your next fight? Who are you fighting? Where do you want to fight? I want to know these things because he's got a fighting style that's pleasing,
Well, listen, I ain't stupid. I already know. It'd be the dumbest fight for me to take, really. Like you said, he don't really bring a lot of media attention. He don't even like pushing the media, so that's gonna put extra pressure on me and all this. And he's really effective, but he's boring too. And it can make for a boring ass fight too. But that's kind of why I'm liking the fight.
But you got something for him?
You know what I mean? I kind of like.
Can he take you down?
I like a challenge. He's one of the best wrestlers in the game, so I kind of like that challenge. And I'm gonna whoop his ass.
Kevin Lee,
so
you
we'll
gotta
see.
set George straight, man. You both come from a wrestling background, and you say that's boring, but it's all about who the best fighter is. It's not about entertaining.
No lie. I'm not denying.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that I can't have an opinion, right? When I watch the fight, it just I don't know.
Other people do too. I mean, his last fight was in New York, and they start booing him during the fight.
Somebody just asked
in New York. You know what I mean? So you got a good point there.
Somebody just asked me the other day, what's the one style if you had a young fighter and you could train them that you would hope they have? And I said wrestling. I can respect what wrestling brings to the table, not just physical or mental, right? But wrestling by itself, it's not for everybody. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's why.
But it's super effective.
That's why, Kevin from Chicago, when March Madness is happening, this place is chaos. I'm talking about the Mandalay Bay Sportsbook. And when March Madness is happening, you got some geek on the 28th floor who's not with his buddies down here, and he's watching it all by himself. Maybe one other knucklehead is watching it with him, but this place is just overflowing. It just doesn't appeal. It's just kind of boring. But I get it that wrestlers love watching other wrestlers compete. They wrestle, they get the scoring, they get whatever, the tenacity, is somebody going to break or not break or whatever. But I watch Ben Askren on Twitter, and he's talking about, oh, man, who's going to win, this, that, or whatever. And a couple people tweet or whatever, but it's nothing like other athletes, like whenever they're talking about, like, a big playoff football game or something like that, or a basketball game. That sport is just not as
It's
popular.
not on the same level. I wouldn't go as far as geek because I'll watch it. It's fun, but I'm definitely not like trying to wake up and. To do
Man,
all that
I
stuff.
give me to the finals or whatever.
Y'all tripping. I mean, if it's a great wrestling match, I mean, come on, y'all tripping. But I mean, I see what you're saying.
In person is more fun
for the masses. But who gives a fuck what the masses say? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's just the truth.
My point is, if you guys are talking from a purist angle, I mean, meritocracy based, then you got to let the best fighters fight. If you want to just do WWE style and put CM Punk in there, he'll sell more pay-per-views than all of them put combined. He's a bigger draw than 3/4 of the roster, so you gotta watch which angle you're pushing.
You ain't lying. And even before my last fight, I said I do want to see MMA get back to the competition of the sport. You know, we can have all these things, and we can give Conor McGregor another shot. And all right, let's just give Conor McGregor another shot because that's what they think is gonna sell. But at a certain point, you do got to get back to the competition of it. And I'm not just gonna talk about it. I'll be about it. Gregor would be a great fight. It wouldn't be smart. You know, I'm just keeping it real. Like, he ain't really gonna bring much to the table besides his skill set and being able to beat me. But it's a fight that I'm interested in just from the competition standpoint of it. So we'll see. We'll see how this whole thing play out. We'll see if he even accept. I mean, I'm giving him a shot here, but he all fishing somewhere.
You're the A side.
Hey, you got to stack your chips in my favor. You know what I mean?
All right. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, Channel 93. Stay close, and we'll be right back to close up shop.
Blah, blah, blah. Here are those two dummies, George and Goes.
All right, we're back. Goes, bring him the Burger Talk back.
These niggas prayed on my downfall.
What's the Burger Talk Goes? Confirming that story you were dropping yesterday on the show?
Yeah.
Kevin had 3 burgers, a chili dog. What else?
No, I think it was 2 burgers, a chili dog, like chicken tenders, and something else. But I remember you had 2 bags and you were holding 2 trays. I've never seen that.
Probably, yeah.
But that was
when we were
cookout,
over in
right?
Virginia. Yeah, it was cookout.
Yeah.
Is that what you letting loose, or is that how you throw down every meal?
I mean, you know, on certain occasions, we had spent all day out too.
How many calories do you consume a day? Do you know? Has the UFC PI kind of given you the clipboard and said, "This is how your body chemistry lines up"?
I don't really go by calories, especially, you know, because I focus on like a lot of high fats, and when you get a lot of fats, you eat a lot of calories, you know. But, you know, most of that, I think it depends on where your calories are coming from. You know, they've given me the whole breakdown and everything, how much my body burns per day. Just sitting and doing nothing, I burn like 3,100 calories. But then I don't like I said, I don't like.
I'm sorry.
Doesn't the average human burn 2,000? That's how fast your metabolism is? 3,100?
I think, but they say that, but then for like an average male my age or whatever, it was like 2,700 or whatever. And I was like 32, I think. 31. And I don't know. I don't count calories. I mean, that's just I think it's kind of pointless.
Do you have a prediction on the Super Bowl? Patriots versus the Rams?
I don't watch football.
Okay.
To be honest. I mean, how many years has it been that Patriots are in the Super Bowl? I feel like at least half of since I've been alive, the Patriots have been in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And they always lose. So.
What about John Jones? Are you guys laughing that off, the whole jacket thing? I heard you say something about. I mean, I look like at one point you guys were entertaining, like not a fight because you're a lightweight, he's a light heavyweight, but something about you won't beat me up and.
Yeah. I mean, but
what happened there?
He cool. I mean, I'm just going. You know, talk a little shit. I'm gonna talk my shit back. John's all right. I mean, I don't. You know, I don't really like him necessarily. I mean, I don't really. You know, I got respect for his skill set for sure. But I'm not liking the way this whole, you know, kind of half drug test, you know, I'm kind of popping, but not really think it's going down. It's like, okay, we get it. You might have some trace amounts here and there, but where'd the shit come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, even when that's why I got respect for guys when, you know, if you pop for something or whatever, just keep it honest and just be like, okay, yeah, I took it, my bad. Like, you know, and when you don't do that at all, then it's almost like you're trying to play my intelligence, and that I'm just like, I take offense to it. So I took offense to a lot of things.
Do you get tested per year?
I've been tested at least like I think 16 times since the thing started.
Yeah.
Per year, probably 3 or 4.
6 a.m. You get those, or are they?
You know, they kind of backed off from them a little bit. I think they got too many complaints, and now they show up at a reasonable time. You know, they show up at like 9, 10. Especially if you ain't giving them no problems, and they know I ain't giving them no problems. They can show up whenever. So, you know, they cool. I mean, it's part of the game now, and I respect it, and it's making it to where, you know, I don't have to worry about that, which I like. So,
big thanks to Alexander Hernandez. Good job goes on booking him. Thanks to Kevin Lee as well. We got to get on out of here. Dennis Bermudez, Tiki Gosen, Mark Henry, Ben Folks, Corey Sanhagen, Jessica I, or our other guests. And Kevin, thanks as always for coming in and co-hosting. We're looking for a big 2019 out of you.
Yes, sir.
Folks, keep it locked on MMA Junkie throughout the week. We got you covered for the big Bellator 214 card that takes place tomorrow night in Inglewood, California, featuring Ryan Bader and Fedor Emelianenko. The winner will be the Bellator Grand Prix champion. For Kevin and Josh, Dan and Goes, I'm George. Have a nice weekend. Go out there and be a champion.
Damn.